So in this section, we're going to be talking about measures of central tendency. When we're given a set of data, we want to calculate two numbers that describe the data. And the first number is called a measure of central tendency, which is like the middle number or the average number of a set of numbers. The second number is a measure of dispersion, which indicates how spread out the data values are, or basically how much variation there is between the data values. Now in this first section, we're just going to talk about the measure of central tendency. So we're going to first off define what the mean. The mean is just another name for the average of a set of numbers. To find the mean, we simply add the numbers together and then divide by the number of numbers. And notationally, for the mean, they use X bar. And this symbol here means summation. It means you're adding up the numbers and then dividing by the number of numbers. The median is the middle number of a set of numbers. To find the median of a set of numbers, first list the numbers from smallest to largest. If there's an odd number of numbers in the list, then the median is the middle of that number of that list. If there is an even number of numbers in that list, then the median is the average of the two middle numbers. And the way I like to think of median is I like to think about the median in a road. Sometimes when you're a road, you got one painted line. In that case, you just have that is the median. Sometimes you have two painted lines. So the middle part of the road is actually halfway in between, or the average of those two. So let's go to our workbook. We're going to head to page 162. And we want to find the length of time of 5 different customer service calls during the last hour were 3.4 minutes, 9.7 minutes, 4.2 minutes, 1.6 minutes, and 1.8 minutes. Find the mean and the median length of time of a call. Well, for the mean, we would just add these up. We would just take 3.4 plus 9.7 plus 4.2 plus 1.6 plus 1.8. Whatever that total is, we would divide by 5. And if you go ahead and add those on your calculator, those 5 numbers up, you should get 20.7. Go ahead and divide by 5. That gives you 14.14. Let's round it off to the nearest 10. So we say the mean here is approximately 4.1 minutes. Now to do the median, I need to have my numbers listed from smallest to largest. So 1.6 is the smallest, then 1.8, then 3.4, then 4.2, and then 9.7. Here I have an odd number of numbers. So I have one middle number, it's 3.4. That will be our median. Let's try number 2. The inspection time of 6 different plants were 9.3 hours, 8.2 hours, 7.4 hours, 9.3 hours, 9.3 hours, and 6.1 hours. So to find the mean, I need to add these 6 numbers up and then divide by 6. So if you add those 6 numbers up on your calculator, it should give you 49.6. Divide by 6. Let's see, that will give you 8.26 dot dot dot. So we'll just round that off. So our mean would be 8.3 hours. For the medium, I need to list them from smallest to largest. So we got 6.1 hours, 7.4, 8.2, 9.3. Now, I have it 3 times, so I need to list all 3 of those numbers. So I'm looking at these 2 middle numbers together. I need to add them together and divide by 2. So I've got to go halfway between them. So 17.5 divided by 2. And doing that on your calculator will give you 8.75, which, rounding to the nearest tenth, would give us a medium about 8.8 hours. Let's go back to our handout. The mode is the number that occurs most often in a set of numbers. If no number appears more often than any other, then there is no mode. If there is more than one number that appears most often, then each number is the mode. So let's take a look at problem number 3. This is on page 163 of our workbook. It says find the mode of the data from example 1. We have 3.4, 9.7, 4.2, 1.6, and 1.8. Since each number occurs exactly once, there is no mode. Where from example 2, we saw this 9.3 appear 3 times. All the other numbers appear once. So 9.3 hours would be our mode. Take a look at problem number 5. And we look at this one. We've got a bunch of 11s. Looks like there's 3 of them. And a bunch of 4s. So both of them occur 3 times, so our modes here is 4 and 11. In fact, when data like this has 2 modes, it's said to be bimodal. Bi for 2, like a bicycle with 2 wheels. Bimodal means 2 modes. So a classic example of that is when you're looking at a male and female of the species. More than likely, they're going to have 2 different lengths for, say, a type of bone in their body. And so in biology, you see bimodal data an awful lot. So let's go back to our handout. So if there are 2 modes, the data is said to be bimodal. And now we want to find the mid-range. The mid-range is the sum of the lowest and highest data value divided by 2. So we're just going to take our highest data value plus our lowest data value and divide by 2. So let's go back to our workbook and let's take a look at problem number 6. So number 6, we're asked to find the mid-range. So looking at our data, 11's the highest, 1's the lowest. So I'm going to go ahead and add them together and divide by 2. So that's 12 divided by 2 is 6. So our mid-range here is 6. Let's take a look at number 7. We want to find the mean, median, mode, and mid-range of the following donations to a charity. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So mean, again, I'm just going to add them up and divide them by 6. So go ahead and add those 6 numbers on your calculator. So if you tally up those 6 numbers, that should give you $23.13. And when we divide by 6, let's go ahead and round it off to the nearest cent. So it looks like you get 3.855, which would round off to 3.86. So the mean here would be $3.86. For the medium, we need to put these first in order from smallest to largest. So 72 cents would go first. Next would be the $1.10. Then the $1.75. Just put a little check mark as I put these numbers down, make sure I don't forget anybody. Then the $4.26, the $6.30, and then the $9. So our two middle numbers here are these folks together. So I want to add them together and divide by 2. So if we add those together, that gives us 6.01. Divide by 2, that'd be 3.005. Rounding it off would be $3 and a penny. So our medium be $3 and a penny. For the mode, well, there is none, because each number occurs once. So you're going to write none or no mode. Do not write 0. If you write 0 for the answer for the mode, you're saying the number 0 is the mode, and that's not the case. There is no mode. And now we're going to do the mid-range. So my largest data value is $9. Smallest data value is 72 cents. So we're going to add $9 and the 72 cents and divide by 2. And if you do that division on your calculator, that should give you 4.86. So our mid-range is $4.86. Let's go and turn the page. And let's take a look at problem number 8. We have the thickness of 4 wooden boards is 0.25 inches, 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and 5/16 of an inch. And we want to go through and find the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. Well, let's first convert those two to decimals. So I'm going to put my fraction 3/8, hit my double arrow key next to the 3 key, Hit enter. That's 3.75. So 0.375 inches here. Do the same thing for 1/4. That would be 0.25 inches. So already you can tell me which one's the mode. Mode would be 0.25 inches, or 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so to find the mean, then you add these four numbers up, and let's go ahead and change that 5/16 to a decimal. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So that's 0.3125. So to find the mean, I'm just going to add these numbers up and divide by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and do them as decimals. Now, if I add those numbers up on the calculator, it gives me 1.1875. Go ahead and divide by 4. Get a big long number. So we're going to have to do some rounding here. So I guess we'll go to 4 places. Now remember here, if in MyLabs Plus they ask you for a fraction and you get this big long number here, hit your double arrow key and your fraction would be 19/64. Okay, so we've got the mean and we've got the mode. Medium, we got to list these in order from smallest to largest. So we have the 0.25, 0.25, then the 0.3125, and the 0.375. If you need help with that, I think what's easiest to think of is like write them out to the same number of decimal places. So 0.25 would be 2.2500. 0.375 would be 0.3750. So I'm looking at like 2,500, 3,125, 3,750. So the 2,500 would go first, so the 0.25s. Then the 0.3125, and then the 0.3750. So I'm going to have to average these two numbers together. And then divide by 2. If you add them together, that's 0.5625 divided by 2. So that'd be 0.28125. So our medium, if we round that off to 4 places, would be 0.2813, or if we need a fraction, I just hit the double arrow key, 9/32. So again, just pay attention in MyLabs Plus which one they need. Okay, so last thing we need then is the mid-range. Well, that's my lowest data value right here, that 0.25. My highest is the 0.375, so I'm going to add those together and divide by 2. I'm running out of room here. That gives us 0.625 divided by 2, which is 0.3125. So I'll put it right here, mid-range. And again, if I need to write that as a decimal, just put on my calculator. Use the double arrow key. And so that's probably the easiest thing to do here. And the nice thing about your calculator is your calculator will always be able to take a decimal and convert it to a fraction, so long as the denominator on the fraction is not bigger than 999.